Welcome back to Steve Robb Reviews. Today's review, we're going to talk a little bit about these butane camping stoves. They're single units, and we're going to go back in time. And we're going to start off with what I've been using over time. I'm going to show you video clips of the past. We're going to start off in 2018. And this is going to be a review between what I have found is the best choice between, well, propane and butane gas stoves. And let's start it off right here when I first got the Coleman. And I've had that since 2018 up in my camp, and I'll show you some clips over time. And I have that hooked up to a 20-pound tank in behind my cabin outside. And well, we're going to review whether you should buy one of these or like the second one that I purchased. And we'll see exactly what people think about them. I'm going to explain some of the things that I found interesting in using them. There is a downfall to using this type of gas that doesn't affect me, but we're going to get into that. But let's start off 2018. A 1-pound bottle. Now at my place I will use it on the 20-pound bottle. And let's get to it, and I'm going to show you some features on this and why I like this stove so much. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the features that it's got. First of all, you notice it doesn't have no wind deflectors on the side here. I didn't want any. I'll be using this indoors. Okay, so it's completely dark, and you know what? Let's give it a go here. I mean, if this thing works in the dark, why not? There she goes, guys. Lights up. Really easy. There you go. Lights up. Beautiful. And what I'm going to do is, what I could never do with my last stove is actually turn it way down. Can you see that, guys? I hope you can. But I got that turned way down so that it's not roaring all the time. I'm going to give you a close-up look of them burners. And you guys take a look if you've ever seen a burner that looks like that before. There it is there, guys. I'm not too sure if it's going to show up nice or not. But there has to be 200 holes in the top of that burning element. And guys, it is very controllable. If you want, I can increase it here for you. I don't know if you're going to see much, but guys, that is just terrific. Or like you say, you can turn it right down to just a nice little simmer if you want. It was taking twice as long to heat the kettle up on this one than here. I was having these great big long curly flames coming up along the side of the kettle. Guys, this isn't the camp stove for me. I've been using this one here for my second season, and it's been flawless. That's called recycling. A little bit of a countertop and a kitchen outfit going on here with water, and you know, I got my propane stove, all my cooking ware, and this is my power inverter that goes outside. This button here, turn that on, and you'll see some running water going on here. I'll turn that off, and I got a generator out there. If I want to come inside, I can turn the generator off from in here. So I'll just back up a little bit here for you. And okay, so that was from 2018. And then now we're going to go to 2020 when I was first introduced to these butane units. And so I still have that camp stove up there. It's still hooked up to the 20-pound bottle, but I'm taking everything out and I'll be using these. Now you could see that my countertop, that stove takes up a lot of real estate, right? So in the past, I used to have a whole gang of guys come up to my place and we'd go hunting in the fall. And I'd have to put on 2 kettles of hot water in the morning to make a whole bunch of coffee, and you know, we'd cook breakfast and that kind of stuff. So for me, well, propane was the way to go. And that stove is just awesome. I'm going to give that stove away to somebody. I don't know who would want it, but I'm going to give it away. And but I'm going with this here. Now if you take a look at this. Now you can see the size of them when I showed in the video. You can see how compact these are and everything. Easy to put away, bring out. You can cook anything on them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some video clips of me actually testing out and using this over time, the butane. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about times. I'm going to talk about how long the butane lasts. I'm going to talk about you know, the differences between butane and propane, portability. Obviously, you could see when I take that big camp stove off, I'm just going to have this in the corner. And if I need 2 burners, I just put 2 out, right? So let's get to it. Let's go back to 2020 now and see how these operate. Okay, I got the stove on high. Just going to place it on. And you just place it right in the center. And this particular stove is the one that I'll be using all the time to make my toast. Now I do have a 2-burner Coleman stove, a gas propane one up at my camp. I'm completely off grid and I will be using this a lot. So just for experimental purposes, I'll be using this bread, but I'm not eating this bread because I never washed this or anything. I'd recommend you wash it or really heat it up good. So it's starting to heat up pretty good here, and I'll show you what it looks like up close as it's heating up. Okay, as you can see there, it's all starting to turn blue, and you know, you could see all the heat here. Yeah, that's throwing a lot of heat through there. Now this stove here, this is just under 8,000 BTU, so this is what you're going to get out of an 8,000 BTU. If you got more BTU, yeah, you're going to get a lot more heat. But let's see how this one does. I'll put the toast on now and let's see how it's going to do. So let's just put the bread on, and this is just your regular size bread. You know, it's nothing, and you know, it fits on there nice, which is no problem. So I'll bring you back when one side is done and we'll see how this goes. Okay, so that was like 30 seconds. And you could see how fast that is starting to cook, right? I'll tell you what, my other one with the bars coming out would never cook that fast, so I had to turn the gas way down. It was too hot. So the one you've seen there in the video, that's the one that I've been using up at my camp since 2020. And these ones here are bigger. These are the 10,000 BTU units. And I'll show you how much I paid for them. And I'll tell you what, I paid almost twice the price back in 2020 than I did from these when I bought them from Costco. And if you're thinking about, okay, so how much do them butane cylinders cost? Well, I'll put in here how much I paid for my butane cylinders. Now, you can buy them at Princess Auto, and I bought them at Princess Auto. You can see in the first video there a whole bunch of them, and I was paying $3 a cylinder. Or Costco sells them for, I believe, a 4-pack for $13. So when it gets down to it, you got to do a comparison of your needs. I have no need to be boiling all kinds of water anymore. And what I use, the one that I have up my camp for now, was just for making toast. I still have the same butane canister in there from 2020, and all I've ever used it for was for making toast. And so what I'm going to do now is I got these 2 here, and I'll have a 3rd one for a spare. I don't make it, not going to be making toast anymore because I've expanded my solar array and my power inverter and my batteries to the point where now I can make toast off of my solar panel. I can boil water in my coffee maker, you know, so now I'm more self-sufficient. I don't need as much gas. But if you're going camping, think about just grabbing one of these, or you got to get one of these Coleman stoves that are this big, like they're almost 30 inches. I mean, mine was 27 inches wide. And then you got to carry the blue or green propane bottles or attach it up to a big tank. You know what? This is far easier to do, but there's a downside to this. If you're going winter camping, stick with the propane. Because what I noticed was I've only been up there a couple of times when you first open up the cabin and it say -10. Well, I tell you what, until you got the place heated up, butane does not like the cold weather below zero. Like below freezing, it does not like it at all. Propane, no problem. So there is a little bit of trade-offs, but I am not going to be worried about that because, you know, you turn your stove on, you get your place all warmed up, and well, the butane flows just fine. Now, when you're thinking about the alternatives between you get yourself a good propane stove, you're going to pay 200 bucks. And you see how much I paid for one of these. And then the gas cylinder. So how much does the gas cylinder last? Well, I tell you something, I don't really know for sure. It depends on how high you're turning it up or how low. But what I like about it is you can turn it down real low, and as I learned about cooking toast in that stainless steel toaster, that thing worked fantastic. I have to turn it down to the lowest setting to cook toast, and it takes about maybe a minute and a half tops. So how many times do I cook toast since then? Maybe 20 times a year after all these years, and I'm still on the same butane tank. Now, they do say that on average, 4 hours on low, an hour and a half to 2 hours on high. So think about how much actual cooking time you're cooking. And, you know, for me, I'll be using these. For me, it'd be easy. Like, I mean, if I barbecue everything most of the time when I'm up there. If I want to put, like, say, a pot of soup on or something like that, one of these, put it on. I'm not burning up a lot of time. Like, how long does it take to heat up some soup, right? Maybe 10 minutes? So, I mean, and of course, you put it on low because the heat output on this is just tremendous. I liked the propane for all these years when I had a whole bunch of people coming up. Well, of course, you'd go through a lot of cylinders if you're trying to boil coffee in the morning, when it takes maybe 15 minutes to boil a kettle on high. So, I mean, yeah, you'd go through a lot of cylinders, but for me now, I think this is fantastic. Somebody who wants to go tailgating or just, you know, go out camping, and, you know, it comes in a self-contained case. You know, you just take it out, push the lever down to turn it on, flick, it automatically starts by itself every time. That's the way to go for me. So thanks for joining me here today. You decide what kind of a unit you like, but when it comes down to cost and convenience, that's the way to go for me. Come back again. If you haven't seen this channel before, you're welcome to subscribe and see some interesting things and some real reviews from people who have actually used something over time themselves. And you're looking at the guy right here. Cheers.